Hey race fans, welcome back to Drewster Racing. Today we have the Superior Mogul Road Race. This is a 44-mile road race with about 3,200 feet in elevation gain, and most importantly, it is the Colorado State Championship road race. This was a race I was able to win last year as a Category 4, and I was really hoping to repeat this year as a Category 3, but definitely a different story. With this much climbing and riders this strong, I definitely had my work cut out for me. But yeah, beautiful course. You can see we have the mountains in the background. I think we might even see some of the flat irons near Boulder as we progress through this lap. Just a wonderful course, and love doing this race. And right now we're in one of the climbs. I'm doing 4 or 500 watts, just struggling to keep up with the group. Already kind of bobbing off the back with 55K to go. This is an extremely difficult race. I mean, I felt like I was almost dropped on the first lap, but fortunately the climbs are not too long. They're steep, but I think the longest is maybe a little bit over a mile. And if you're falling off the back or there's even a gap, there's usually an opportunity to catch up to the group on the flats that follow each climb or the descents. And that is what I was trying to do anytime I was dropped, and that happened quite a few times. Alright, so skipping ahead to one of the descents, I wanted to call this out. If you look at the road conditions here, you're going to see there are quite a few potholes in these roads. And I don't want to say it was a deciding factor in this race, because it certainly wasn't, but it was definitely in the back of everyone's mind on these descents and even some of the flats. I mean, right now we're going 40 plus, and if you hit one of these potholes, that could be the end of your day and maybe even your season. Some of these are pretty deep, like a couple inches deep, and I know last year the group in Cat 4 did a really poor job calling out potholes. But fortunately with this group, everyone was pretty safe. You know, some weaving around, some jumping potholes, but everyone, for the most part, did a good job of just, number one, being predictable and calling out potholes. And right now we have about 54 Ks to go. And if you look off the front, you might not be able to see them, but we have a breakaway group of maybe 4 or 5 riders. And in that group, we have one of my teammates, Leo, who recently upgraded from Category 4 to Category 3. He won the Tour of the Gila as a Cat 4, and we are really excited to have him on our team. He's already making a difference off the front in this breakaway. Right now, we have 5 other Primal riders in this main bunch, and we're just going to sit in, ride the draft, see what that breakaway can do. And also a part of that breakaway group is Alex with Groove Cycling. If you watched my last video, he was a part of our breakaway that lasted for essentially the entire race and was able to take the win. So we know it's a very strong group. We've got Leo in the mix. There's a lot of climbing coming up, and Leo's a tremendous climber. So we're feeling pretty optimistic about this breakaway and hoping we can just kind of sit in for the rest of this race and let the breakaway take care of things. All right, we're skipping ahead. We're still on the same lap, finishing it up, 47K to go. If you look to my left, you're going to see that breakaway is kind of fallen apart, and we've just got 2 riders off the front. They even got a gap, and between those 2 riders in our main group is Leo. And right now we're a little concerned because we don't have anybody off the front. Again, we've got 6 riders in this group of I think about 30 plus, and we definitely want to have somebody represented. And also right now off the front is that rider Alex with Groove Cycling, who again was a part of that breakaway at the Fountain Road Race that was able to stick the entire race. That included myself, Nick, and another Groove rider. So we have experience riding with this guy. He's extremely strong, and yeah, I mean, he's someone that can put out, 350, 380 and just hold it this whole race. And if our group isn't working together and no one's pulling off the front, he's a rider that's strong enough and can make his solo breakaway or maybe a 2-man breakaway stick. So we're very concerned at this moment, and we need to start making moves at the front. All right, skipping ahead, we still have about 4.5 laps to go. And yeah, that breakaway right now is just a 1-man breakaway, and it's the Groove rider. He's got a bit of a gap now. Before he had maybe 100 yards on the main group, and he's going to show up right there to your left, and he's easily got, easily 30 plus seconds, maybe even closer to a minute on the main group. But between the main group and that Groove rider, we have 2 riders that are trying to bridge, one of which is a Primal rider, my teammate Chris. Very strong rider, so he's putting in a dig, trying to bring that guy back. And at this point, I am still just sitting in. My game plan for this one was to really just sit in the entire race and hopefully have a bit of a sprint left for like the last mile and a half and replicate what I did last year in the Category 4 by attacking on the last hill and the final flat. All right, we're finishing up another lap, and I wanted to just kind of call this out, and this is where I made a lot of mistakes on this course. So again, with this course, there's just 2 180-degree turns at each end. And I am just way too slow going into these turns, which results in me having to put almost a sprint-like effort in after each turn. And between that and the climbing, that is just not a way to save energy. And here I go, putting in, I think, 8, touching 900 watts for a second. And I'm still off the back. We've got a gap, so I got to kind of put in a longer effort of like 400 or 500 watts to hopefully catch up with the group. And if I'm trying to conserve watts, conserve energy going into this last lap, like, I'm just not going to have anything left. However, I am able to catch back up to the group, so I'm going to just kind of sit in and shelter on the left side of the road at the south side, because right now we have a crosswind coming from the right side of the screen to the left. So going to try to save as much power as possible, get that heart rate down from the mid 170s to hopefully 160, 150, so I'm ready to go for the next climb. Alright, so we just ripped down to the descent at 40 plus miles an hour. We're on to the next climb. And you can see I'm starting to get gapped again, and we just can't keep having that happen. I'm putting in like mid-4s. My teammate Chris is able to bridge. That's a wheel I need to hop on. And I'm putting in close to 500 watts, and I'm just still kind of falling off the back right now. And yeah, this is a tough race, but I know like with this course, like I just got to keep holding on the power. Even if I get gapped, there's usually a chance to catch back up either on the flat after each climb or the following descent. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm putting in, right now, power that I'm pretty comfortable, so anywhere between like 3 and 350, minimizing the damage as much as possible, and just trying my best to stay with the group. But you're going to see that's really not going to be enough, because this gap is going to continue to grow. And this is something that happened to me last year at the Category 4 state road race. I was dropped several times, maybe like 3 or 4 times, like properly dropped 15 seconds, 20 seconds off the back. But I was able to claw back again on those flats and on those descents. So I had that in the back of my mind right now, and I think on another course I might have given up, but feeling pretty decent at the moment. And I know like I'm just gonna again minimize the damage and hopefully catch up on the descent. Now, if the pace picks up, I might not be able to catch back up, but I know usually right now everyone's pretty damn tired because they've been putting in an effort just like me, and they're hoping to recover as well. So if I can, again, just minimize the damage, catch up on the flats or the descent, I should be able to claw back to the group. Alright, so we'll speed things up as I'm trying to catch up. So we're on the flat part right now. My watts are not that high, 200, but if you look ahead, the group's using up the full width of the road, so they're not going full gas, fortunately. And I'm holding a decent speed, mid-20s. And as we go into the descent, I'm going to put in a little bit of power, not too much, and then just tuck in, get as aero as possible, and just find the optimal lines, dodge the potholes, and hopefully make up a little bit of space. We're hitting mid-30s, so nothing too fast, but you can see that gap's, it's not growing. It's maybe getting a little bit smaller, but fortunately we're going to go into this 180-degree turn, and I'm going to be able to take an optimal line and gain just a little bit more on the peloton. And then as we start to climb, I'm going to be able to claw back a little bit more time. Alright, skipping ahead a little bit more, we're on the climb. I still have a gap in front of me, but I've definitely reduced it quite a bit. And if I just put in a little bit more power, hitting 3, 4, close to 500 watts, I'm able to close the gap, and I'm going to again tuck in on the right side of the road, shelter from the wind, and try to recover as much as possible. Fortunately, the group is not going terribly fast at the moment, so I'm able to catch my breath. Heart rate mid 170s. We need to get that down to 160 if we want to have a chance to continue to compete. Alright, we wrapped up the climb. We're now on the descent, and you're probably wondering, what are you doing off the back again? That's not a good idea, but believe it or not, I actually somewhat did this on purpose. Probably shouldn't have let the gap get this big, but what I found on this race, like going into every descent, I guess right before the climb, the whole group was touching brakes for some reason, and I was losing all of my momentum from the descent going into the climb, and I just didn't want to waste any energy, so I kind of gave the group a few seconds, tucked in on the descent, and wanting to carry that momentum as much as possible into this climb. But if you look at my speed, it's still going to drop anywhere from 40 to 30 pretty quick, so I am touching brakes just a little bit, but I am able to carry a little bit of speed here. So going to do my best here to recover as much as possible, even though it is a climb, but my heart rate's in a good spot. It's mid 140s, so we're doing all right. All right, skipping a little further ahead, look to the left side of the screen, and there go 2 riders now off the front. The Groove rider, who is in a solo break, has now been joined by a rider from Full Send. Not sure how he was able to bridge that gap. I wasn't quite paying attention, but great effort by him. So yeah, two extremely strong riders off the front. And then in between those two in the main group, I believe we have this rider here from CU Boulder, who's also off the front. And I think our group's starting to realize we are currently racing for third or fourth. There just hasn't been enough motivation from the group to put it a proper chase. And yeah, there's just not a lot of motivation right now in the peloton. Extremely tough race, and guys are tired. And if anyone's feeling like me right now, I'm just riding to survive. I'm not really worried about a podium spot. I just want to finish with the main group. Wish I had the legs, but I clearly do not. No excuses, just not strong enough to compete in this race. So yeah, we are now at 2 to go. And here I go, putting in a little bit of a sprint out of that turn. So I'm going to try to catch back up with the group, hopefully shelter on the south side of the road, and hopefully have a little bit of a pop left and maybe score a few upgrade points on the last lap. All right, we're on the last lap, halfway through, and so much for having some pop left because I am dropped on one of the climbs, putting in like 400 or something watts, still getting gapped. Heart rate is in the mid 180s, and yeah, I am tapped out. I've got nothing left. And that's my day. And huge shout out to those two riders off the front. I believe the full send rider ended up taking first. Groove rider, I believe, got second. Shout out to those guys. Very strong ride. Extremely impressive to be able to hold off a group that big for, the majority of the race. So great job by those guys. I was hoping for a better result on this one, but overall pretty happy with my results. Able to hang with the main group until the last lap. And yeah, power looks pretty good on the climbs, just not enough to finish it off at the end. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Later.